I started 2 years ago when I ran, and it was all about delivering results for the people of the 4th District, 39 counties. And that's what I've done over the last 2 years, is delivering results for families and for our farming community and for our small businesses. To me, it's about listening to them and then taking from what I'm learning from them and bringing it back to Congress and creating good, positive policy for each one of those areas.
And what are some of those policies you'd like to talk about?
The big issue that we're hearing every day from all 39 counties is just the cost of goods, the cost of gas, the cost of food, the cost of health insurance, and the cost of utilities. And this is a really big thing. And it's really, when you look at it, we have out of control inflation caused by our out of control spending. And so for us, it's getting that spending back under control, number one. And then number two is making sure that we as a country are energy independent, that we are buying our energy locally from biofuels, from ethanol and biodiesel, or buying from Midland, Texas, instead of Saudi Arabia and Venezuela. These are the big issues that are out there. And then also giving a voice to our agricultural community. I mean, this is so important that our agricultural community has a voice. And this is what we hear every day, that we need to have a voice, whether it be in livestock or our commodities. We need somebody that's at the table every day working for them.
And when it comes to agriculture, what kind of policies would you like to put in place? Because you always hear that, big corporations are coming in, buying up land. That's not necessarily always the case. So Plymouth County, I know my mom just sold some land from her father, and it was stayed, local producers kept it.
Yeah, well, the biggest thing on land, we want to keep our land local. Right now in our country, 37 million acres are owned by foreign countries. That's larger than Iowa. So this is a real problem that we have. We got to keep our land in the hands of states, producers. That's number one. And number two, from our producers, we have to make sure that they're successful. And that's what I've done on the Ag Committee. We have the big farm bill coming up right now that will be passed next year in the next cycle. And there's things like conservation, research and development, trade, energy, insurance products. And these are all big parts of this farm bill. So that's what we'll be working on. And me being in one of the most agricultural districts in the country, it's paramount that we get this right.
Now, I know we've also seen drought, even though it hasn't seemed to impact some of the corn yields. But do you think there's anything that can be done to address those kind of issues when it comes to the environmental issues?
Well, the big thing that I always look at when it comes to the environment, first conservation, that we do volunteer programs, but we have the cleanest form of energy in the world when it comes to biofuels, ethanol and biodiesel. And then we also have the cleanest form of fossil fuel. If you look at what's happening at our refineries, I mean, we are 40 to 60% cleaner energy when it comes to fossil fuels than any other country, whether it be Venezuela, Saudi Arabia. And yet, unfortunately, we're buying all our product from OPEC, from Venezuela and from Saudi Arabia. And that shouldn't happen. If we want to do something about this environment, then we should be buying local where we have clean forms of energy. And that's probably a big issue that I want to try to tackle in the next Congress.
Now, I know in some of our research, though, some of the experts that we've talked to, they are concerned sometimes that ethanol does take too much energy to produce.
Well, the bottom line is this. I mean, I look at whether it be the corn or soybean, all right? It's natural. It's like a little battery. In essence, you're squeezing that corn or you're squeezing that soybean and taking the energy out of it. It's the purest form of energy that you could have. And so that's where I look at it. Any type of energy that you create, especially baseload generation, is going to be very costly. And, whether it be coal or natural gas, those are baseload generation type fuels. But if you look at biofuels, I mean, this is a way that we can use something naturally from the soils. And to me, it's very efficient and effective.
Now, I know you already touched a little bit on inflation. I mean, we have an inflation rate that's in the high upper single digits. What kind of ideas would you bring to Congress, or what kind of things do you think should be done now to address that? Because like you said, that's been on top of mind is the economy. Things are costing more money. People feel like they're not getting paid more sometimes.
That's right. This like I said, it's the number one issue that we're hearing all over our 39 counties in the 4th District. And number one, I mean, how it all started is when you have $6 trillion put on the credit card. Now we have a $31 trillion debt. That really stimulates inflation because you have so much cash in the system. So my whole feeling is, and I'm very passionate about this, is that we got to get to a balanced budget, and we got to stop spending. This is a real issue, and it not only is it an issue for today, but it's spiraling out of control with interest rates going up. Think about it. So you have $31 trillion on your credit card, and now your interest rate on that credit card is going up dramatically. So this creates the debt spiral, which is going to create even more inflation. And then if you think about gas prices, we were paying, a year and a half ago at $2.30, $2.35, and right now we're at $3.50, $3.60, $3.60. We can get that down very quickly by, again, looking at biofuels and then looking at our local energy from fossil fuels that come out of Texas and Oklahoma and Kansas. But just a quick note on biofuels. If you look at E85 is $1 to $1.50 cheaper than regular gas, and that in itself can save people a lot of money.
And you were talking also about the economy. I know locally, Sioux City, we just had recent news. Tyson Foods, they're moving over 550 good-paying jobs out of this area. And that's more than 500. That's the families and everything they bring to the community. What can be done? I don't know if there's anything, I don't know if you've had a chance to reach out to Tyson, but what can we do here in Siouxland and northwest Iowa to try to keep that kind of business here?
Well, first of all, this is tragic. I mean, this is just being a bad corporate partner of what Tyson is doing. I'm truly disappointed. I mean, this is absolutely shameful. This is what we don't want corporations to do, and yet they're looking at that. However, there's a lot of discussions going on right now to try to keep them here, try to rethink through this bad decision. I'm so supportive of what Chris McCowan's doing and the chamber and everyone else. I mean, they're doing everything to fight for Sioux City and to make a difference and to make sure they stay. And I'm right there with them, trying to do everything we can. And we're hoping in the next 2 to 3 weeks that a decision is made going the other way. If not, I think we have to really address what it looks like to be a corporate citizen in society and take it upon ourselves to show that Tyson is a really bad actor if they want to go down this path.
Do you think a lot of corporations, is that part of the issue too? A lot of corporations aren't necessarily providing a good, meaningful wage to people. They're keeping some of that money themselves, or? Well,
you can't have a one-size-fits-all. I mean, right now, if you think about what's happening with corporations, putting Tyson aside, I mean, people, the starting wage is from $20 to $25 an hour. You think about 2 years ago, people were saying, hey, we want a minimum wage of $15 an hour. Well, now anybody can get a wage, close to $20 or $25 an hour. So, it's our economy. It's the economy. We need goods. I think about our agricultural community. We are the breadbasket to the world, especially the 4th District. And we got to promote that. But we also have to make sure that our producers are secure and that they can provide a good wage. And not only that, but provide for their family and create an income. And that's where our safety net always needs to be in place through the Farm Bill to make sure that we can pass that farm on to the next generation.
Now, another big issue, you talked about the economy, inflation. Reproductive rights. I know what happened this summer with Roe v. Wade being overturned by the U.S. Supreme Court. What is your position on abortion?
Well, first of all, Roe v. Wade was overturned by the Supreme Court, simply saying that the state has the rights, so it gives the state rights. Now, I go back to our founding fathers. Our founding fathers declared that we have the right to life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. The first thing being life. And I fully support that. I'm very pro-life, and I do believe that we have the right to life. And at the end of the day, my faith also teaches me that God has created each one of us for a purpose and a reason. So I put those together, and that makes me very pro-life.
Would you allow exceptions for the life of a mother, or if there was a major issue with a baby?
Yeah, so I just signed on to a bill banning abortions after 15 weeks that had exceptions into it. Whether it be the life of the mother, life of the baby, whatever it might be. Yeah, I mean, I'm looking at anything that will save lives. It's unfortunately, there's the other side of this, right? There's the other side that says, you can kill a child up to the day they're born. You talk about something that's scary and very concerning to me, and that's allowing that to happen.
I don't know if does that happen that often though?
Well, it's happening in
sometimes
more progressive states. I mean, you look at New York, where they're allowing that to happen, and I just think, on both sides, we have to look at what does life really mean and what does it stand for.
And you mentioned the 15 weeks. I know Iowa's, they had that 6 week that passed, and it's been in the court system. Would you want to go that low, or the 15 weeks for you is?
Well, first of all, I would say I'm in for any bill that saves lives. I passed a heartbeat bill when I was in the state Senate. I'm very proud of that. Again, for me, it's about that people should have the right, just like our Declaration has stated, the right to life, and that God has given each person a reason to live.
Well, I appreciate your time today. I know your opponent, when we interviewed him, he was concerned that you guys weren't going to debate. Would you be open to a debate, or what was the reason why the two of you weren't? I know Iowa PBS did like a series of them.
I tell you what, the rest of the story is that the person I'm running against and I did have 2 forums, and the number one issue in all 39 counties in the 4th District is agriculture. So we had 2 forums put on by agricultural organizations because I felt it was very important that they heard what both him and I had to say about agriculture. So it's not quite right to say we haven't debated. We have engaged each other, and if anybody wants to know where I stand or he stands, we're available to the public at any time.
Is there anything else you'd like to address? Anything else you think our listeners would like to know or need to know?
I'll just say this. I'm so proud to represent the 4th District and all it has to offer. I mean, we here in the 4th District, we're trusted. We believe in hard work. We're families. We're small businesses. And I take that very seriously when I go to Congress to think about what that looks like and how I can help them every day and deliver results for them in Congress through policy.